By the same token, with the same big idea, what if you and I asked him, what's a man? Chances are he has no idea. If we went around the room and said, define man, define woman, whatever number of folks in the room, that's how many different responses we would get. But if I said to the young man, distinguish man from male, chances are he'll look at me sideways. They're the same thing, aren't they? See, so with that big idea, part of the process was I needed to be able to fit time within the school day to teach boys what it is to be a man. But why are you at the school, Kafele? Because when he went home, only 20% of my boys had someone at home that could reinforce that, as far as someone that looked just like them. So their mother could tell them, but she couldn't model it for them. So therefore, in terms of this big idea, I wanted to spend 4 years teaching him what it is to be a man. Teaching her, but not me, but women, what it is to be a woman. To overcome all the difficulties, because that had implications for achievement in the classroom. So, well, what does that look like, Kafele? What's that look like? Let me give you a brief scenario. I'm gonna show you on video before we're done, though. Got young men come to school on Monday morning. Well, I don't want you wearing your regular attire on Monday. Tuesday through Friday, you wear your attire as long as it's within our expectation. But on Monday, it is non-negotiable that you come in looking like the CEO of a corporation. Non-negotiable. But Principal Kafele, how are you going to pull that off? Because I'm going to ensure that climate and culture extends well beyond the walls of the school. Climate and culture go out into the community. So now, what's going to happen is I'm going to go to those parents, particularly mothers. Mom, in 4 months from now, when we launch this, because I'm going to give them time, I need your son coming to school looking like me on Monday. And while he's looking like me, I'm going to be teaching him some things, but it won't just be me. It'll be my male staff, but they're so few. So climate and culture goes out into the community. So watch this. And as a matter of fact, I need to preface what I'm going to say with this. If I don't preface it, then you're going to receive it wrong. Who is in my classrooms teaching, or who's in your classrooms teaching? Meaning you, or if you're administrators, your staff. Who's in your classrooms teaching? Well, I have a criteria. Here's my criteria if you can join my team, folks. Criteria number 1, posed as a question. Are you passionate about children? That's my first criteria if you can join my team. Criteria number 2, are you passionate about teaching and learning? Criteria number 3, are you passionate about your own professional growth and development in those areas deemed deficient? Teacher says yes, yes, and yes. Welcome to my team. I embrace you. Notice you didn't hear me mention anything about race, ethnicity, or gender. You didn't hear that, because that's not my criteria. I caught some attention on that one. That's not my criteria. When I was a college student, I used to preach to anybody who would bother to hear me speak. Put black men in every classroom where there are black boys, and we'll fix this thing overnight. When I became a teacher, a lot of my colleagues didn't particularly care for me because I was still preaching the same thing. And then I became a principal. And I started firing the very people I said I needed. I started asking them not to return. I was asking various people not to return, but they were part of that category. And it forced me to look at the world differently. It totally sabotaged everything I thought I believed and knew. And I started looking at folks and I said, wow, I got some folks that don't meet the old criteria who are in here taking care of business year after year after year. And when I say taking care of business, I mean children learning at the highest levels. So that became my criteria. So I needed to say that to say what I'm about to say. That young men's empowerment, I need to borrow some people. Sir, I need you. Yes, sir, come on up here. Where we at? I saw something. Yeah, sir, I need you to. You stand right here for me. I'm looking for a tie. That's what I'm looking for. All right. So, but yeah. Hall, right? Yeah, come on up here. Take a look at these three young men. See, take a look at these men here. See, folks, I don't care who's teaching my math lesson. I just need I need folks that meet that criteria. That you love kids, you love what you do, and you love getting better. That's what I need. But at the end of the day, Jalil, he still needs to see them. Okay? Let's keep this thing very real. At the end of the day, he still needs to see them. See, he may never meet LeBron James. He may never meet Kevin Durant. But that's all right, because I got better than LeBron and Durant right here. See, I got it right here. Yeah. Oh, no, I mean that. I mean, I love them two guys. Don't get me wrong. But in order for me to meet my objective, I don't need them. If I want to win an NBA title, I might take them. But if I want to build a man, I don't need them. I mean, if I got you, good. But if not, I got better. I got educators, right? So now, but what are you saying, Principal Kafele? Because I'm not fully clear on what you're saying. I'm saying that in that classroom, I need an extraordinary classroom teacher. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to make Jalil, who may be living in some situations, a situation which is very challenging, where he is not seeing men that look like these three. He's seeing males all over the place. But I don't know that he's seeing men. I don't know. So now, as I said to my superintendent, I need to put some men in front of Jalil that he could look at and say, you look like me. I don't necessarily, if I got you teaching math, fine. But if I don't, that's fine too. Because I'm going to get on the phone or go find you somewhere in the community. And I'm going to recruit you and bring you to the school and say, look, I just need you to sit down with the Jalils of my school. And I need you to tell them your life experience. I need to tell them why you're in the position you are right now. What is it about your attitude that got you to where you are right now? Because Jalil needs to see that. So that he could say, wow, you mean you from places like me and I can be like you? See? So therefore, in my young men's empowerment program, I went out and found these men. And they came in on Mondays looking like they look. And my young men sat at the seats, and they were never a discipline issue because this became a part of the climate and culture of the school. This is who we were. So now I take a seat unless it's a day that I'm speaking. And now whatever man was scheduled to come that day, oh man, them kids sitting up there absorbing. My teachers loved it because my teachers kept saying, the boys are coming back to class differently because these men are giving them some stuff. You know, we closed the door and these men are giving them some information and they're saying it to them however it needs to be said. And then so I may have a grade of young men, 9th grade. So guess where the girls are, young ladies are, why I got the boys? They're in their session, right? They're in their session. And the same thing is occurring. So now simultaneously, the one grade level, the two genders, and now they're growing because they're hearing these multiple perspectives. Because see, you and I, we're not going to fix this thing with just pounding them with math and reading. When that kid goes out here and pulls the trigger, he's not going to do it because he didn't pass that Alabama state test. That's not why he's doing it. There's some other stuff going on that hasn't been addressed. But what if I can convince him that this can be you? See? And I mean sustain it over the course of the time the young man is in my school, in your school. That boy's going to grow. He's going to be forced to grow. He's going to change. So whether it be the whole group, the one-to-one, the small group, now we've got these structures in place because when I talked about the sagging, that's part of the conversation. Because one of the men is going to say, look, because let's you guys don't mind I get real. Some of you going to write me later. You say, man, you was real today. Listen, N-word. As I say to them, and as my guests would say to them, you can't be a man and an N-word simultaneously. You're going to have to make a decision. But see, now I'm giving context to have that conversation. That conversation may not be able to be had in the classroom. Might be, but it may not be. But now in my young men's empowerment, we could hit this thing head on. There's so many things we can talk about. We can talk about the relationship between a young man and a young woman in terms of respect. We can talk about the relationship between a father and a child. Because those young men who were sitting in that cafeteria or in that auditorium, the overwhelming majority of them have no relationship with their father at all, but instead have nothing but hatred for their father. How do I know? Because they would tell me. And when they would tell me, typically emotion would follow. Profanity, crying, screaming. I hate him because he's not in my life. And because I hate him and because he's not in my life, that's why I'm in the predicament I am today, because he's missing. Well, if that's all I know, what do you expect me to become when I one day become a father? But what if these gentlemen come in and we begin to talk about the dynamic between father and 2-year-old, father and 3-year-old? So to plant a seed so that he's thinking. The relationship between him, see these three men? Let me talk black for a second. Leading cause of death of black males between the ages of 15 and 29 is murder by another black male. So now they're here. And we can put together a scenario where one bumps into the other. Because typically when that happens, now we got beef. We got a problem. But now I can create the scenario where they bump into one another, and now we show them how to resolve that conflict, and we're still brothers at the end. See? So all that going on has implications for success in math, reading, science, history, foreign language, etc. Because I'm giving him coach's word. I'm giving him purpose for entering the classroom of the teacher in the first place. See? Big idea. Give him a big round of applause. See, I hope I didn't confuse anybody on that. See, I can't rely on LeBron James to be the role model. See, the young man and I, we can't touch LeBron. I certainly can't rely on Rick Ross to be the role model. And those of you in the room that don't know Rick Ross, Google him when you get back to when we finish here. And then play about 10 of his songs. Find the unedited versions, and then you'll say, oh, okay, now I understand what that man was talking about. So, I don't have to rely on celebrities. But I don't want to rely on celebrities, whether it be entertainers and athletes anyway, because I want these young men and these young ladies to realize that there is a world out there. But I need to make this thing so concrete when they see others who look like them who are already in that world. Then the classroom teacher, whomever that person may be, your job becomes so much easier. Because what they did makes this thing so real. See, there were things that I wanted to do coming up, just like I'm sure with many of you, that I imposed my own limitations and restrictions because I didn't see others who looked like me doing it. So I didn't do it. But see, when things open up and now a young man or a young lady can see that, wow, I can do this, then it becomes that much more realistic and relevant.